So I think, you know, you have to know the rules to break the rules. And quite often, you know, it's a good idea to, you know, just write a track and not really even think about what key it's in. It's only when you get to the point where you're finding trouble adding a new melody or adding something that works over the top of it that maybe you want to find out what key it is. And if you want to do that, there's an app on, I use an app on my phone called Key Detect, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty accurate. It's not 100% accurate, but it, you know, it does the job, and it, you know, somewhere around the circle of fifths, it will show me roughly whether I'm in key or not. And they've also released a Mixed in Key Studio Edition, which is a really good plugin to find out whether you're in key. So if the major scale is all the white notes from C to C, then the minor scale is all the white notes from A to A. So if I go A, and I go lay these out across the keyboard, like this. And this is what the minor scale sounds like. I'll make sure I've got the right one. There we go. So you may say, oh, well, that means that, you know, the C major scale and the A minor scale are exactly the same. Well, that's not actually true. And I'll talk about why it's not true a little bit later. And it's all to do with the order in which you play the notes and how the chords are formed. All the modes and all the scales, there's a couple of other minor scales as well, but we're not going to talk about them now. They are slightly different, but all the major, minor scale and all the modes are based on the white notes. So having said that, we can now hack any scale. So if I said, let's say D minor, I wanted to write a piece of music in D minor. Now, all I would need to do is grab all these notes, which are from A to A. I know that's the minor scale. Move that to, let's go down, move that to D, and that's my D minor scale. So now I can write a piece of music in D minor. But before I do that, let me put all these notes back to where they were, so they're all in the right place. Make sure I've got the right notes. So just make sure that's a D minor scale by moving that back to A, and that would be all the white notes from A to A. Fold. And that is the A minor scale. So I'm going to move this down to D minor. D minor is a particularly dark, sad scale. You'll find a lot of, you know, melodic techno, the darker melodic techno, the melodic house and techno stuff is written in D minor. It's kind of quite somber, but people tend to like it when they're writing darker dance music. One of my favorites is G minor. I love G minor for some reason, but I tend to use minor scales. And I tend to use like C minor, D minor, E minor, sometimes E sharp, or yeah. And I don't do it on purpose. That's just something I naturally write in. It's not something I've chosen to do. It just, when I'm writing a piece of music, I'm like, oh, I like the sound of that. And then afterwards I go, oh, and then when I find out the key, it's normally in one of those scales, which is unusual. But you know, and the thing about music theory is, if you've got a good ear, you'll probably know when something doesn't sound right. You know, you know when something doesn't sound right. But knowing the music theory gives you that opportunity to make it sound better. Let's get back to this. So I want to write a piece of music in D minor. So first I'm just going to copy this out, basically. So I'm just going to copy this out and place it across the keyboard, and holding shift and the arrow up and down, I can move that up and down an octave. So now I could go up to here, this one here, copy it out again, go up an octave, copy it out again, go up an octave, and then copy it up again and go up an octave. Now when I fold that, basically all the notes I've got are in the D minor scale. I can't go out of key now, basically. If I play anything, it's going to sound musically okay, and I'll demonstrate that. First, what I've got to do though is I've got to move these start and end points of this loop. So I'm at position 1 here, so I'm going to go to start my loop here, and I'm going to make it 1 bar starting from here. So I'm just going to turn that to 1 bar there. And now I can write a piece of music, and it's going to sound musically correct. It doesn't matter what notes I put in. It may not sound like the best piece of music in the world, but it's going to sound coherent as a piece of music. So let me just demonstrate that now. Let me turn my tempo up again, because we went all the way down to got this zoom thing all over my space. So if I play this now, it makes musical sense. So I know that whatever notes I throw in are always going to work with each other, and I can copy this thing that I've made, I've hacked basically, by transposing my minor scale. I can copy it into all my MIDI clips, or I can even save a MIDI clip of this in it already, and it locks me into the scale. Now you may ask, okay, you've got a scale MIDI instrument in Ableton anyway, a MIDI effect in Ableton anyway, but that's good. But what that lets you down when you start coming to chords and making your own chords. So that's what I want to talk about next.
One from Victor. Can I hack my keyboard to play only chords in A minor, for example? Is there a plugin for that or something?
Right, so you've got two plugins which can help you with that. But you've got the chord plugin, and then you've got the scale plugin. So the scale, the scale. So for example, if I go to C major and I move the root note of this scale here, anything I play on this keyboard now will lock me into C major. I can't play a note out of C major. It'll just, if I play a note that's out of C major, it will force it into another note, basically. And you can change the bass of this as well. And it's also got this chord, this chord thing here. Sorry, I'm going to go to C minor and then move that. You've got the chord plugin as well in your MIDI effects, which is good, but the problem is, well, let's talk about fixed interval chords. Now, if you sample a chord, right, so we spoke about a chord being a major, and this is another reason why you can go in and out of key in dance music and it sounds great. We spoke about in a major chord, in a major scale, you get minor and major chords. In a minor scale, you get major and minor chords as well. So if you sample a minor chord, it's always going to be a minor chord, right? So if you sample a minor chord and you're playing it in a track, it's going to be a minor chord. So it's going to go in and out of key, because if it is played in the correct chord sequence of that scale, it would go between major and minor when you went up and down the keyboard, where it doesn't if you sample it. And it's called a fixed interval chord. And it's something that is used a hell of a lot in house and techno. The early house and techno records, they used to sample one chord and then play it on the keyboard. And it's called a fixed interval chord. It gives you a really good sound. It's something that's great, but it means that you're going in and out of key. But it doesn't matter. It sounds great. People did it all the time. And people used to sample like really weird chords as well, like, diminished seventh chord, and then just play that up and down the keyboard and it'd sound great. And that kind of gives techno and house, you think about the early Detroit, Good Life and, the Inner City records, they were all based around sampling a chord and then playing that back off a keyboard. That's a beautiful sound. It's a great sound, but it's something that goes in and out of key. And because of it, it's breaking the rules. Same with the chord plugin here. It won't change the intervals between your chords. You get a fixed chord, basically. You get a fixed interval chord. So it's going to go in and out of key. So if I pick a minor chord, it's always going to play a minor chord.
Hi, this is Roger Sanchez.
Hi, this is Lenny Fontana.
Hey guys, this is Jackie.
Hi guys, Amber D here.
Hi, I'm Paul Maddox.
This is Saytek. Hi, this is Kyle V, and you're watching
Mixmasters TV,
where you can access world-class producers in your studio
every single day.